Gain Vision welcomes in Kevin Harris, who's the head rowing coach at the University of Tulsa. And busy spring for you, but the spring is over, and you finished out with the IRA. Give us a little of the history of the IRA, because it is fascinating.
It is. The Intercollegiate Rowing Association, it's the oldest sort of collegiate association for rowing in the U.S. And it's actually the men's national championship. And a few years, well, almost over 10 years now, they've also sponsored the lightweight women's rowing championship, which is how we come to be competing there.
And so you sent out the fours and the doubles, and the doubles did really well, didn't they?
Yeah, I was really proud of those guys. Lindsay Crute and Audrey Brown finished. They advanced straight from the heat into the final, which is a first for us. It's the first time we've ever had a boat do that at the IRA. And then they had a tremendous race where they were fifth for most of the final. They were able to sprint through Harvard and almost caught Stanford, but ended up in fourth place.
So when you're talking about this, you're kind of talking about the national championship of these particular disciplines,
exactly, right?
Yeah.
It's a little bit different than when we race at the NCAA, because of course the NCAA championships is a team championship, whereas the IRA is more of an individual boat championship. And in terms of what we're trying to do with our lightweights is we're trying to build our lightweight program so that we're able to actually compete a boat in the 8, the 4, and the double.
And of course, so great performance by Audrey and Lindsay. How about the fours? How did they do?
Fours, same thing. The lightweights have done pretty well all season, but to see that four, they had kind of a rough race. Coach Mott is actually our head coach of lightweight rowing. He did an amazing job with the women this spring. But he was able to get them from having kind of a rough heat into having a magnificent repechage, which means second chance race. From there, they advanced into the final. And his opinion was we just needed to hit a couple of different spots in the race better, and it proved to be true. They had a great start in the final. They were with the pack up until roughly the 800-meter mark, but then the teams that ended up winning that, we couldn't hang in with them. We're just a very young team. There are 4 freshmen in that lightweight 4.
So overall, though, great experience, wasn't
it was fantastic. It was really great to see the smiles on their faces when they came in from the final, because they know that they had done something that we hadn't done before. We put 2 boats into the final at the IRA, and of the 6 rowers, or actually 7 athletes, we had 5 of them were freshmen, right, including the coxswain of the 4. So that's a good basis for the lightweights who are coming in this fall, and for recruiting as we start hitting the road here in July, to try and bring in even better lightweights to make the program faster. So I'm pretty encouraged by it.
And as we continue to rewind, we go back now to the American Athletic Conference Championships, and for the second straight year, you're that close. I mean, second place again. I know that's frustrating, but it still is great effort, isn't it?
They raced well. I mean, there's nothing that I can point to and say, hey, we did this poorly, we did that poorly. There's nothing like that. UCF is a great team. Becky Kramer is a fantastic coach. They've got great athletes. We've recruited a lot of those athletes, just like she's recruited a lot of our athletes. So we tend to be a fairly even team, even though they had a great race. So I think, as much as we're looking at Central Florida and saying, hey, we need to beat those guys, the rest of the field is looking at us saying, dang, how did Tulsa, get out to that start? Because we had a really good run. Our varsity 8 was second, our 2v8 was third, and our 4, which by the way is the same lightweight 4 that we're talking about at the IRA, finished second in a very close race with Central Florida. So, we were in a position to win it all the way through, but just couldn't quite get it done. It was great racing for the University of Tulsa, and I'm pretty proud of these guys.
Well, so now what does it take? You've been at the door, you've been knocking. Now, how do you slam? How do you knock the door down and win it?
We just keep going. We just keep going. I mean, what this conference championship has done for all of us in our conference, in the American Conference, is it's made us all faster. And you can see it through the results for all of our teams throughout the year. What we have to do at the University of Tulsa to make sure that we're always in that conversation for, are we going to win the conference? Are we going to go to the NCAA championships? We've got to recruit better, but the athletes that we have to train at the level that we're training and then push it a little bit higher. And I can already see them doing that. That's the best part of that. So.
And one other thing is, before we get to the close, great academics as usual with your program, but I know you want to tout some of the awards you've won here late.
Well, yeah. I mean, we had 14 athletes win the Scholar Athlete Award for the Collegiate Rowing Coaches Association this spring, and that's a lot. I mean, that's a ton of students. Considering there's only 54 athletes on the team, they have to have a 3.5 GPA, a cumulative 3.5, not a semester, a cumulative 3.5 GPA in order to be able to qualify for that award. And they have to be in our racing boats at the top end of the program. So the varsity 8, the 2v8, the varsity 4, the lightweight 8, or the lightweight 4, and the lightweight double, right? They have to be in those top boats or else they can't even be considered for the deal. So really great example of, and they can't be freshmen, by the way. That's the other piece.
Yeah. Wow.
So a really great example of our older athletes taking on what we preach here at the University of Tulsa, which is excellence on the field and in the classroom.
So as we wrap up the spring, what'd you learn about your program?
I learned that we're damn good. I learned that we've got athletes here who just love this place and who want it so bad, and they're willing to do the work that we ask of them. I have no complaints about what our student athletes are bringing to our program. They're hungry. As we talk about, they're humble, they're hungry, they're here. They want to fly the Hurricane flag everywhere we go. And we're looking forward to what's going to be a great fall leading into another good spring next year.
So in the summer, it's the young ladies' work and you go recruit, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself.
All right. Congratulations on a great spring.
Thank you.
And folks out there, Kevin Harris coming to a city near you to recruit TU rowing.